Joining us now from Abuja is presidential candidate of the Advanced People's Democratic Alliance, Kabir Shitu. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning, thank you.
Preparations are no doubt in top gear ahead of the 2019 general election. Interestingly, we're going to have 76 presidential candidates as against the figure 14 in 2015. What do you think has inspired this offshoot in the figure?
For us, we believe that the democratic space is being opened. People are now aware that democracy is the way. Dictatorship, militaryship has gone. So everybody is prepared now to embrace democracy, and we are now embracing the culture, and everybody is coming out to express his own feeling and taking his own destiny by his hand instead of waiting for other people. And the youth in particular, you see that the sensitization that youth should come out for politicking has really endeared the youth to now come up. And you see that most of us that come out for this presidential contest are young Nigerians who are ready to take Nigeria from this level to another level.
And talking about the Nigerian youths coming out this time around to test, their mettle at the poll, would you say that they are really ready? You example, are you ready to take on the reins of power in Nigeria if given the opportunity?
Yes, I'm ready. Ready because we have our blueprint. We believe that this country, the former leaders have done their best. When we needed them during independence, we have our fathers that stand, like Sardona, like Awolowo, like Zik. Today, what Nigerians need is now to join hands and build a country that will work for all of us. In building this country that works for all of us, our agenda is, look, it's enough of us going the way of copyrights, copying other countries, copying from advanced countries. We should now start to advancing our own cause. And for me, in particular, we look at agriculture, we look at commerce, we look at education. In the agricultural sector, we are looking at it that we must go commercial. If you go into commercial agriculture, it will give you industrialization. And if we build industries, our youth, youth will get work. People will not be looking for white-collar job any longer. And because of this, we want to review our agreements with World Trade Organization, where our country will not be turned into a dumping ground. And secondly, we look at education, because it's through education you can improve technology. And technology is what drives the world today. What do? We don't allow our education, we improve on vocational educations, technical colleges, agricultural colleges and universities. This is where we want to go in the area of education and allow innovations, because it is innovations that trigger economic development. When people are when innovation come in and technical educations are being promoted, vocational educations are being promoted, there will be less dependent on degree where people are only thinking of white-collar jobs. And we look at area of how do we now improve in our own security, and especially when you talk of food security, you must industrialize, and you cannot industrialize in this area without electricity. And we now look at it, yes, you can see just few days ago, 1 week ago, the Chinese are saying we want to light our street through artificial moon. What are that technology? when the Russians were going to the space, Americans did not wait for Russians to sell their obsolete equipment for them before they go to space. They join, and today they are both in the space. So Nigerians should now join to now know how do Chinese come about putting up artificial moon that will now light their street. We should go even ahead of them. That is why we say in the area of education, we'll bring about vocational, technical, and in area of where people can now think of innovation, so that we change from this obsolete equipment that we use our billions of dollars to bring into country, and then putting up our own industry. And we look at somewhere like Ajaokuta steel industry, because if we can put Ajaokuta into use, we will be able to build our own cars, we will be able to build our electricity equipment, we'll be able to build our industrial equipment, and that is why that place is not allowed to grow. So it is one of our priority to see that this area work.
It's all right, Kabir Shitu. It appears that
and help us in developing our industries.
It appears that we're going to have to just look at some other issues, because you seem to, have exhaustive ideas there. But let's talk about some other issues ahead of the 2019 general election. Just recently, INEC charged the electorate to pay attention to the credentials of political candidates. As a matter of fact, telling them to challenge, falsified information in court. Would you say that is the responsibility of the electorate? What role should the umpire play in ascertaining the credibility of many of these candidates that have been penciled down for the 2019 election?
For us, Nigerians are to look at who is to represent them. Today, I've put myself forward to say I want to take on the presidency of this country, and I have all it takes. I will submit myself, my document, everything to the public, and the public have right to scrutinize my certificate. So if the electoral umpire are saying that Nigerians should scrutinize who they are going to vote for, I think they are right. And the issue of certificate, or not even only certificate, people should look at the antecedents of the people they want to elect. What are their antecedents? What have they done? Even when they are in schools? All these have to come, and that is entrenching and even helping the democracy to grow, where you don't vote mediocres into office and wait for another 4 years. And this will even discourage those that does not have the requisite qualification to say they are coming out. What are they coming to do? So it is time that I support the electoral umpire to do that, scrutinize, let the public scrutinize us. I come from a village. My villagers know when I went to primary, when I went to secondary, when I went to the university. They will know my antecedent, and I think that will now allow people that have something to help the country to come on board.
Come November 18th, the political gates will practically fling open for campaigns to start. Now, of course, INEC has set the amount to be spent on campaigns by candidates regarding, depending rather on the offices they will be vying for. Now, the pressure is on INEC to monitor the amounts that they will spend, but then it seems to many already that going into the 2019 election, money is going to play a lot of roles yet again in determining the way forward. I don't want to say who emerges.
For us, we believe that money politics is what we must do away with. If you are talking of spending billions of dollars, are we trading our political space? Is our democracy for sale? The answer to me is no. And that is why from 2019, we should change. And I'm happy that Mr. President has signed Electoral Offenses Commission into law. It is time that this commission allowed to take off, so that this Commission can now monitor the expenditures of various political candidates. And this will help the country. And we know those that stole money that are now coming in with their money will be monitored. And I want to urge the populace, Nigerians, the electorates, to say, look, it is time that you do away, because for the past 19 years that we've been practicing democracy and money has been exchanged hands, development has eluded us. Now that we want to create a country that will work for all of us, we urge Nigerians to do away with money politics. If people come with their money, and that is why INEC say, scrutinize them. Where are you coming up from with that money? Where did you get it? How did you get it? And monitoring the amount and reporting it to the electoral umpire. And if the Electoral Offences Commission take off, it will be easier for people to report, because this Electoral Offences Commission will be able to prosecute whoever has violated this rule. People were not being prosecuted before. So 2019 should be a year of prosecuting people that have put themselves or have breached electoral laws, as this will curb menace that we find ourselves today.
Well, it's obvious from previous experiences that mere talks is not going to deter Nigerians from collecting money from politicians. You talked about prosecution. For instance, the amount of money to be spent on presidential campaign has been pegged at 5 billion naira. Who has the responsibility now to monitor how much political parties are spending and eventually prosecute offenders, which in most cases have been across board in previous elections?
When I was chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council, that is in 2012, we are the one that brought about this issue of Electoral Offences Commission, because we emphasize that the only way, because electoral umpire, which is INEC, has much to bite. Therefore, you have to take that away from them, and that is why they could not prosecute people. But if you have a separate commission that will monitor this, which is Electoral Offences Commission, they will monitor, they will document it, they will take people to court, they will be able to prosecute people. You know, human mind is wicked until you have the law to regulate it. Now, if they knows that there's a commission that will monitor them and be able to punish them, you see that people will sit up. But people were doing what they do before because there's nobody to monitor and prosecute them. Now that we have that Electoral Offences Commission, we empower them. And the citizens, that the electorate, must also monitor. And if people come with their money, the question you ask yourself, if I take this money, am I going to see this man for the next 4 years? Because it is an investment that is bringing. Don't allow him to invest on you with 1 naira or 10 naira and then take 1 billion naira after 4 years before you see him. He come again with a peanut. So we must talk to ourselves. We must be able to, as our people, to change, to now believe that let's create a country for ourselves that will work for all of us. And that is why somebody like me give myself out to Nigerians, because we are ready to create a Nigerian that will work for all of us.
And of course, talking about being ready to serve Nigeria for the 2019 election to hold, that will only happen when there is peace across the land. There are fears already, really, that so many people are already stockpiling arms and ammunition. Why, we do not understand. In fact, President Muhammadu Buhari already raised that fear and met with service chiefs a few days back. So how important is it that Nigerians generally understand that peace is important going into the 2019 general election and even afterwards, before, during, and after, and for peace to be entrenched in troubled states at this time, even before that time?
You have brought me back to my thinking in 2012 as chairman of Interparty Advisory Council, where we propose proportional representation. You see, when you have proportional representation, what that entail or mean is that if I got a 25% in this presidential election, and somebody got just 35%, that person coast home with victory. And you that have 25% have to coast back with nothing. Now, if you are talking of proportional representation, I will be able to say, okay, party B, party A, party C, you got so percentage. Therefore, you can have representatives in the assembly, in the government, in this. That will curb do or die why people are now stockpiling arms. Because Nigerian political system today has come to be do or die. People believe it's like that is only industry that is available today. And we, at this level of our APDA, we don't want Nigerians to look at politics as a venture. It has to be a service. You are going for service. And why people are piling ammunition is they believe that they have to take it by all means. So if you put proportional representation beside Electoral Offenses Commission, people know you'll be monitored. People know that if I can get into 30%, 40% of the election, of the vote, I can be able to be represented. It will curb do or die minds.
It's
people
all right.
Believe that I can try again.
Let's just quickly.
We are urging that during our time, these two proportional representation will come on board and will be able to curb do or die politicking.
Let's have your opinion very briefly on the coalition attempts that we have seen recently. There is the Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP. There's also presidential aspirants coming together under the umbrella of PACT. Are you looking forward to join any of these coalitions? And what do you think of them, really?
For us, as presidential candidate, we can come together to talk to ourselves. First of all, to stop hate speech. Secondly, to see the country as one, and that we are only going for service. But in the issue of talking of PACT, therefore, if I join PACT, then I have nothing to offer Nigerians. If I have something which I believe I'm to offer to Nigerians, I'll give myself to Nigerians to look at me, vote for me, and I now come on board. But if I go into PACT, I'm not sure of myself. Therefore, APDA and myself as the flag bearer are not going for any PACT, but we are ready to sit down, talk to ourselves, to curb the menace that is good, especially the hate speech, attacking ourselves as presidential candidate. We now want us to bring out issues, politics of issues. What are you going to do for Nigeria? The government in power, what have you done for Nigeria that is different from what election is bringing on board? Have you built our railway? How many kilometers? How much have you spent? Is it worth it? Shitu, what are you bringing on board? Are you going to build railway different from what they are doing?
All right, it seems you just rounded off with that discussion. Oh, he's back. Okay, Kabir Shitu, presidential candidate, Advanced People's Democratic Alliance. Thank you very much for featuring on our show today.